Before he was a politician, before the rallies and the controversies, Donald Trump was a brand, one that seemed to symbolize wealth, power, and ambition. His fortune began in the real estate business, a path paved by his father, Fred Trump, who had built a lucrative career developing low and middle income housing in New York. Fred Trump's empire gave Donald more than just a head start, it gave him the resources and connections to make bold moves. With his father's help, Donald took over the family business in the 1970s, borrowing heavily and leveraging his connections to expand his luxury properties in Manhattan. He was brash, confident, and willing to take the risk that many others wouldn't. A shimmering skyscraper on Fifth Avenue that embodied the glitz and glamours of the 1980s. To the public, it was a symbol of the American dream, the idea that anyone could rise to the top through sheer ambition and a little showmanship. But behind the marble walls and gold-plated facades, there was more to the story. Even in those early years, Trump faced backlash. There were accusations that his fortune wasn't purely self-made, with reports suggesting that Fred Trump had funneled millions to his son through dubious financial maneuvers. The myth of Trump, a self-made billionaire, was questioned, and some saw his wealth as inherited rather than earned. The controversies didn't end there. In the 1990s, Trump's expansion into Atlantic City casino industry led to a series of high-profile bankruptcies. While Trump maintained his image as a successful tycoon, his company struggled under massive debt, leaving creditors and small contractors in the lurch. Critics pointed to these failures as evidence that his business acumen wasn't as bulletproof as he claimed. Yet through it all, Trump managed to stay in the spotlight. When The Apprentice debuted in 2004, it gave him a new platform to reshape his image. On television, he was the ultimate dealmaker, the boss who knew how to win. It was a carefully crafted persona, and for many it worked, but for others, the Trump brand had always carried a darker side. Long before he entered politics, Trump had faced backlash over allegations of racial discrimination. In the 1970s, the U.S. Department of Justice sued Trump management for refusing to rent apartments to black tenants, a case that was eventually settled out of court without any admission of guilt. Later, his full-page ads in New York newspapers calling for the death penalty for the Central Park Five, a group of young black and Latino men wrongfully accused of assault that sparked outrage, especially after they were exonerated years later.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
When Trump announced his run for the presidency in 2015, he didn't shy away from controversy. In fact, he leaned into it using fiery rhetoric to tap into the frustrations of millions of Americans. His infamous comments about Mexican immigrants, his call for a Muslim ban, and his dismissal of political norms sparked a wave of backlash from both sides of the aisle. Yet, each time, he seemed to emerge stronger, as if the controversy itself was fueling his rise. The backlash continued throughout his presidency, from accusations of racism and sexism to investigations over alleged ties with foreign governments. The Access Hollywood tape, where he boasted about groping women, nearly derailed his campaign. Yet, he managed to weather the storm. His critics saw his resilience as a symptom of a broken political culture, where scandals no longer seemed to carry consequences. But the most intense backlash came after the 2020 election. Trump's refusal to concede defeat and the events of January 6 left a lasting mark on the nation.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity.
Some saw his actions as an existential threat to democracy, while others viewed him as a champion of the people, willing to fight the establishment no matter the cost. In the end, Donald Trump's story isn't just about a man who made billions, faced backlash, and became president. It's about what he represents in the American psyche, a mirror reflecting our fascinations with success, our tolerance for controversy, and our struggle with national identity. Trump didn't just build a fortune. He built a legacy that forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about who we are and what we value. And the story is far from over.